Okay, good morning, everyone, and welcome to our weekly market outlook class where we look for trade setups and opportunities in the week. So to begin, let's look at the expected fundamental news for the week. So today being Monday, 27th of March, we have kind of like a not so busy week in terms of news. There are not many news reports for the week. Next week is going to be more because that's the first week of a new month. But for this week, there are not many high impact news or high impact financial reports, which is actually, anyway, it doesn't really matter. It's quite good. I don't really trade the news. Just pay attention to them to know how to manage positions, okay? So today being Monday, we have the only red news or high impact news that we have is from the GBP, and it's the Bank of England governor. His name is Bailey. He's going to be speaking. So traders basically would assess what he, how he sounds basically as to whether it's bullish, dovish, or hawkish. Now, one thing to keep in mind is that the UK, they raised their rates. So they raised their interest rate last week, which basically is good for the economy. So we could expect him to probably sound more dovish. They've been raising their rates consistently for about the past 11 months. So the pound is actually quite strong relatively. So we'll see how that might react. So the news will be out by 6 p.m. Don't necessarily, you can't really, there's no actual and forecast reports for this because it's actually speech in terms of traders gauging the sentiment of the Bank of England. And then on Tuesday, we have the CB consumer confidence from the US, which is by 3 p.m. There's also the Governor Bailey will also speak again in the morning tomorrow. And then we have a medium impact news from the president of the European Central Bank. Okay, and then on Wednesday, we have CPI reports from Aussie, that's the Australian dollar. And on Thursday, we have the CPI report from Germany, which affects the euro, and also the final GDP QQ for the US. So basically this is the most significant news for the week, in my opinion. On Thursday by 1:30 p.m. we're going to be having the final GDP QQ release and unemployment claim. So this would be significant than most news. Then to wrap it up, we have also the GDP cards GDP release numbers, and also the core PCE index from the US. Okay, so with that in mind, let's jump over to our currencies, also our charts, and try and see what possible setups to look at. I'll come back to NZD/USD as usual. Let's take a look at the DXY. So the DXY is the dollar index. It measures the strength of the dollar against major baskets. Okay, so let's look at the dollar index on a daily time frame. Most of you guys who join me on my classes regularly, you'll see how price has been developing quite nicely. You see this move that we drew out here, where price begin to pull back, which I also made mention of, with saying that the dollar is weak. Basically, the dollar has been bearish and stopping out since finding this high here. Price has continued to make lower lows and lower highs. And at the time price was going into here, I said, I would expect the dollar to begin to give back some of its gain. And so far, so good. We saw those in our dollar-related pair. Now, looking at this, it's still quite, it's still clearly bearish. The overall targets, right? The overall target still is going to be down here. So price might still go down. However, especially looking at the way Thursday and Friday candles developed, we could see maybe a small pullback before we see the next leg lower. So if we get a small pullback, that means the dollar might just strengthen maybe today and tomorrow, maybe Wednesday, and then on Thursday we could give back most of those gains. Now that's nothing. It also could begin to fall off from here. Now remember, we don't really trade the DXY. What we do is we basically use that as a reason to gauge the sentiment of the dollar. So let's jump over to some currencies, and we're going to actually start off by looking at EURUSD. So EURUSD, most of you here know my sentiment for over 3 weeks. We've had the same sentiment on this one. I made mention of this way back, right? So I made mention of this way back when price was down here, right? So when price was down here, I made mention of several trades. I even sent out some tweets to the Telegram group. And I said, and I still maintain that I feel long term, this is where we are heading. So this is the target liquidity that I'm going after. Now, if you no, first for sure, if you so if you remember what the DXY looked like, remember the DXY is inversely proportional to something like the Euro USD. But if you remember the DXY, so look at this, look at the dollar index. The dollar index looks like the opposite, the flip side of it, right? In the dollar index, we're still going after this low, right? Well, that's the low we're going after. Our price has been bearish and we're expecting this to continue bearishness. In the as far as Euro USD is concerned, okay, as far as Euro USD is concerned, we are still looking for the same weakened dollar, because if the dollar is weak against the Euro USD, we expect price to continue to go up. We've been buying. I'm still looking for buying opportunity. My targets, obviously, I've taken partial profit on most of my trades, on all my trades, basically. But I'm still looking for entry positions to get involved and take this thing to this high. So if you just measure from current price to this high here, that's about 260 pips, not bad. So it's now a question of figuring out exactly how to leverage into the position with confirmation once we spot an opportunity to do so. So let's quickly do that. You can see we have this trend line. There's a good chance that there is some chance, let me not say good chance, there's a probability that price could maybe come back and bounce on the backside of this trend line before going back up, which obviously would be good in the sense that it will offer more range, more pips. But it's all about the patience to wait for the plan and then look to execute the plan. Now, so how, going into the week, what could we expect? So remember, like I said, we could see the dollar strengthen before weakening. Now, there's no guarantee. Obviously, all of this are perspective based. It's not financial advice. It's my perspective based on the way I look at the market. However, if we see the dollar strengthen, let's say between today and tomorrow, before it begins to weaken, it could actually cause price to come down, maybe before going up. Also, but that's the that's the flip side. The other side is price could actually have gotten to the area it's ready to get to and then begin to pull up. So now the question is, how do we play this market? Well, there are a number of ways you can do this. One way could be to just drop down to, let's look at the structure on the 4-hour chart and see if price is still posting higher highs and higher lows. So here you'll notice, so let me just, don't need all of this. So these are the trades I took. I think I can get rid of them. We don't need them anymore. Okay. Yeah. So now, if you look at what happens since price made this low and began to move up, if you just follow price, if you just trace price, you'd see that it's been making this sort of higher highs, higher lows, higher highs, basically, and higher lows. And then, so basically this low here is what is responsible for this high. And all this pullback is still, is still okay relative to this move, right? You can consider this one big move and a pullback, and then we'll see continuation. So if you, let's say, trade Fibonacci, if you're looking at Fibonacci extensions, you could just maybe go from this low down here, go to this high, and you see that price is actually bounced off from around the 50.0 Fibonacci retracement area. Now, if you're looking at smart money in terms of looking at the other blocks and leftover areas, you'd see that this actual low here is what caused this high, and price is coming back to test previous order block area. And so what now, basically, as you can see on my screen here, what I'm actually waiting for. Now, there are two things, because when you are approaching the market, you want to approach in such a way that you should have a bias. So a bias in the sense of, okay, looking at this chart, I expect price, the market is bullish, I expect bullishness, and then you start looking for bullish opportunity. But then the market, you don't know exactly where and when that would happen. So you need to figure out how to confirm that price is probably ready to start moving. There's a chance that price could drift down, maybe find support here before going up. But then there's also the chance that price could just begin to go up, and we want to be ready for both. Now, if we drop down even further, and let's say look at the 1-hour chart here, No, actually, let's look at the 15-minute chart here. You'll notice that, well, this high, so clearly you can see price is bearish, lower lows, lower highs, lower lows, lower highs, lower lows, right? So this is the most recent high that forms this low. That means all of this price is doing here is just range. We need to wait for price to decide. And what is the decision that it needs to make? It needs to either break above this high or break below this low. So if we get, let me take this off. If we get a situation where price breaks above this high, that will serve as confirmation for me to start looking for buying opportunity to take this up. Otherwise, if price comes down and break below this low, my line is not straight, but if price breaks below this low, I would not try to sell. I would wait to see if price, to see how price will react when it gets to much deeper levels, like I showed you on the 1 hour chart, on the 4 hour chart, and on the daily chart, right? So let's go back there. Yeah. So if price fails to break this high, right? So by today, if price fails to break this high, and instead if price, let's say, end up coming back down and breaking this low, there's a good chance we could see price continue to drift down. If that happens, don't try to sell this, right? Don't try to sell this. Just wait for confirmation to buy, either in form of maybe price begins to shift structure or price continues to drift down until it gets to maybe this trend line support. So that's the way I'll be looking to approach this. Only looking for buying opportunity on this one as of this time. I'm only interested in looking for opportunities to buy. But okay, now we also check out gold, so XAUUSD. So let's look at that. Now, gold has been one beautiful trade for us. Sure, for some of you who usually join the class and on Telegram channel, who join me on the cutting edge trading room, which I haven't really been having so frequently. But we've been mentioning gold from, way down here, and we've only been looking, like I mentioned to you, I've only been looking for buying opportunity. Right now, I don't have any open positions on gold anymore. So I had like a 1, 2, 3, I think 4 positions within this area here where I was buying, where I accumulated buying. I closed most of my profits, right? So let me show you that. I closed most of my profits at this area here because that is the higher time frame targets. So that I took most of my profit at that area. And then I allowed some of my profits to continue to trail, to continue to run. So I closed partial position on some of them and trail stop my profits. So basically, I had right now, so I'm trying to explain why I don't have any more trade on this. I closed most of them here. And then when price make this high, I moved my stop loss. Obviously, I think it was based on the 1 hour structure. I didn't want to give back positions, and I think price could begin to balance out before going up. So I don't know what price wants to do yet, but I already made hands-on profit on this one. So we'll wait for a good setup. Now, a good setup could materialize this week, could even materialize today, depending on how price reacts from here. So remember, just like EURUSD, we're only looking for buying opportunity on this one because the higher time frame, lower time frame, all points to price being bullish. So if we drop down further, let's say look at the 1 hour charts here, you'd see obviously the structure in the market, but this is the particular structure I am quite interested in. From this low basically to this high, price is pulling back down. So you can see I have this area highlighted as a potential area I'm looking to want to buy from. Now, if you're aggressive, you might obviously want to maybe place a buy, put your stop loss below here, and then go after this high. In terms of risk to reward, I think it looks sound. Let's see. So let's say you get involved with a buy, stop loss, something like this, and go after this high. Now, so you risk it's like a 1:7 RR, which is not bad. But it's up to you to figure out whether you want to do that, right? For me, I'm just going to wait a little bit and see how price develops even further to see how to get involved. Because what I would like to see really to get involved is I want to see price begin to react around this area and then begin to break higher to get involved buying and taking it up. So that's my analysis on gold. I'm quite conservative in the way I tend to trade, okay? So another pair that we're going to quickly look at is Aussie Yen. So I talked about this one last week. So Aussie Yen, AUDJPY. The Aussie yen, if you look at the weekly charts here, you'll see something I pointed out some few weeks ago. There's a head and shoulder pattern that is setting up, right? So we have this head and shoulder pattern that is setting up. I don't know if you can see this clearly. So basically, this is our left shoulder. This is the head, and this is the right shoulder. You can see how price made a very clear neckline here. Now, interestingly, for last week, I made mention of the fact that I was actually looking for buying opportunity on this one, and I did. I got involved in a buy trade. Give me some profits. Wasn't the best of profit, but it was based on structure. So we're expecting price to. So I made mention of something. I said, I think you can always rewatch it from my YouTube channel. We had a trend line like so. I think it was something like this, right? And I made mention that, well, this area, this level here could hold. If it holds, we could see price continue to push higher. Otherwise, if it breaks, we could see price break down based on this head and shoulder. So I got involved in a, I think I even sent out this one to the Telegram channel as well. So I got involved in a buy trade here. So you see it best on this lower time frame. Yeah, so that's it. Got involved in a buy trade here. You can see how price broke structure here and began to pull back. I got involved in a buy, and when price came up to this area, because I take out my partial at about 1:8, so I took partial profit and moved my stop loss to break even. So I took some profit out of the table and then moved my stop loss to break even, and eventually price came back down and closed the trade for at break even, basically. So it made small profit, but wasn't what I was expecting price to continue pushing upward. Now, with looking at how price has since continued to react, so we had a weekly close and a daily close below the neckline, right? So you could see the head and shoulder neckline here. You could see this is the neckline here, and for months. So this is back in April. Since back in April, 2022, the market has not been able to close below this level, right? So you can see how we had a touch from here. We also had a rejection from here, and our price again is back down here. So we just had the first daily and weekly candle close below this area last week Friday. So that could be significant, and that could mean that, remember, with patterns like this, it usually tend to have measured objectives. So the measured objective from the neckline, right, to the head. So the measured objective is the same as, so the distance in pips from the neckline to the head was most likely going to be the target the other way around. And you can see how this is setting up, right? So we have about 1,200 pips from the neckline to the head. And then you can see how this lines up with about 1,200 pips on this key area here. So if I zoom out here, you'll see that this area here has actually been quite significant for the Aussie yen. Multiple rejections and multiple candle levels from here. Now, I don't necessarily trade support and resistance, but you see stuff like this, and you can basically gauge that it's a key level, which for some reason market tends to react to it. Now, I'm not necessarily trying to look to buy to this area. That's not my reason for buying or selling, but you can see how those begin to line up. So what that means is, now this doesn't mean that price will definitely go down, but what it means is, if price, so the main thing to look out now is this market needs to stay below this neckline. So if we have, for the week and for the day, we need to have price stay below this neckline. Actually, you could even begin looking for sell setups on this one, and you wouldn't really be wrong. So this is the daily chart. You can see how price has just drifted down. And now we had this break. So what we want to see, what I would like to see, if this thing is really, really serious about continuing this downward, the only thing I don't really like is all of these wicks, all these candle wicks. Basically, it's not very convincing. But if we have at the end of the day, if price stays closes below this neckline and continues to stay below this neckline for the rest of the week, I will be looking for good setups to buy this thing, to sell this downward. Now, if you're looking to maybe get involved in early entries or something like that, you might maybe go down to smaller time frame and look for sell opportunities. But what I would say is, if you're doing that, then figure out you want in the area to pay attention to. So let me even drop down to 30 minutes here. Let's see if we can find a good setup on this one. Okay. So 30 minutes. Oh, why is my system? Can you guys hear me? Okay, so if you're looking for a setup on this, my advice would be to wait. Just be patient. Wait for a break below this low here. So if price comes down and break this low, right? So if we have a break below that low there, have a break below this low here, you can use that as confirmation to continue to sell. Okay. Okay. Now we move to the next pair I had in mind, which was EURUCAD. So EURUCAD, go look at the daily charts here. So we have daily chart here. Now, so you can see the market is bullish. So we're looking for buying opportunities on this one. So very straightforward chart, very straightforward. We had this break, multiple breaks. So we had a break out of this area. We also had another break of structure there. So right now, what we're doing is we're looking for continuation for price to continue to go up. Our target is this high. So this high here is going to be our target for this buy potential. Now, but where the question is, how do we get involved with the buy? You could see this area here is a region I'm interested in buying from. So this is the daily chart, right? So between 1.4687 to around 1.4609, I like that area, and I want to see hopefully price drops down into this area and give me confirmation to buy, to take it then up to this target. So you could wait for that. You could watch for confirmation like so. You could also look for structure, because there's no guarantee price will go up there, right? Now, so another thing that price could do is if it breaks this high, then you could start to look for buy opportunities to take it here. Otherwise, if it breaks this low, which it seems it wants to, if it breaks that low, then we could just wait patiently until price begins to give you a bullish structure, or you could just, or when price drops down to that red area that I just highlighted. So that's the way, that's probably the best way to trade it. Wait for price to either drop down here and then look to buy, or wait for price to break above this blue line here and then look to buy. Either way, your target is up here, this high is here, this will be your target. This one here around 1.45 or 4940. So EURUCAD, I quite like this trade setup. I just want to wait for price to decide on what it wants to do, and then we'll look to trade it according to that phase. Okay. So those were the pairs I had in mind to discuss. I think what I'll just do now is take one or two, probably one or two pairs. So if you want me to, if there's any particular pair you want me to quickly run an analysis on, I'll do that now. Otherwise, the next class will be our cutting edge class. I will try and hold that tomorrow. But so you guys should just try and join. It's part of the reason I'm not really excited about it is because it's quite discouraging to come and see one or two people. Okay, so anybody wants me to look at any particular instrument while we are waiting? And then, okay, you're gonna ask what's you need the link to the Telegram group. Okay, to get access to that Telegram group, you need to fund your account. So fund your account, reach out to your account manager, and then I'm sure he or she will be glad to add you to the Telegram channel. Okay, and then the YouTube link, I'll send you the link right away. Okay, any questions? Okay, so pound dollar, GBPUSD. So let's go up to the daily chart. I've not traded this one for a while. The market doesn't seem to come to area where I'm willing to start buying or sell or trading from. So I had this area here, down here in mind. Price fails to get down there and broke above, so nothing for me to do. The point here for me is I think price wants to come up here. So I think price wants to come up to this area. So it's not a question of can I figure out or can I find an entry that meets my criteria to be able to get involved in the buy? The answer now is it depends. So we had this break. So this is our new low to high. So if we drop down to the lower time frame, so let's drop down a little bit here. Let's look at the 4-hour chart on pound dollar. Okay, so the 4-hour chart, this is the low that forms that high. The question now is where could price possibly be dropping down? So now a number of areas that pop up to mind. We have something like so, and something like so. So we could see price drop down to what if I'm going to look to buy, I'll probably want to see price drop down here to get involved in a buy because I can't see a sell trade on this market. I'm anticipating price probably wants to come back up here. So that's the reason why I'm looking for only buys. I'm not interested in trying to sell this. But you know, a sell trade could begin to materialize if and only if we begin to see price maybe because there's a potential head and shoulder, but you have to wait for it to complete, right? So you could have, this will be our left shoulder, our head, our neckline, then maybe price breaks below this level, then potentially, and now here's the thing, even if that happens, it doesn't mean that it's a reversal. It doesn't mean that, what it just means is this could just happen where price breaks down, come back down here, to now begin to go up. Because if you look at that, this move, let's say it breaks down, will meet the measured objective of here. It will meet the measured objective target of here. So I don't want to try and sell this thing. I'm only interested in looking for buy opportunities. So I either look for opportunities to buy here or look for opportunities to buy here. Okay, so that's the outlook on my outlook on those instruments, and I hope you are cleared or you are satisfied with the analysis. Okay. Okay, so in that case, this is where we draw the curtains and come to the end of our weekly market outlook session for the week. And remember, when it comes to trading, it's the most important thing is risk management. So you want to ensure you always try to use proper risk management, use risk opportunities to your account so that you can at least give yourself an edge in the markets. Okay, so thank you, everyone. Thank you, Chinedu. Thank you, Ubina. Thank you, Collins, and thank you. I always forget your name. I think it was Mr. Samuel or something. So that's 577162. Okay. Thank you, everybody.